Hi everyone, this is William from the Headphone Experience. I'm here tonight with my first impressions of the Cleer Audio Next, and this is the first headphone that I've ever reviewed from Cleer Audio, and that's spelled C-L-E-E-R, and they are out of San Diego, California. This was loaned to me for review by Cleer Audio, and it currently sells for $699.99, and that is in US dollars. And this is the flagship headphone from Cleer Audio. It's actually quite a big jump from their other headphones, and this is this model they refer to as an audiophile headphone, and it seems to be what it is. I've had this for about 3 weeks now, and my apologies to the people at Cleer Audio who loaned this to me, and I usually try to get a first impressions video out in less than a week, and to be honest, two things happened. Number one, I've worked 13 days straight without a day off, and today was my first day off, and it wasn't really a day off. I spent the day doing yard work and stuff around my house today. And also I got 4 headphones in 2 days. This was about 3 weeks ago, and 3 came in the day before these, and I've done a review of one of those. That would be the Hi-Fi Man HE1000 SE. And I just did that about 5 days ago, and I'm trying to get caught up on my reviews, and it's been tough. You know, this is my busiest time of the year. Those of you who don't know me know that those that know me know that I do lawn care, and so, you know, I got to make money when I can, and this is the season to make some money. So anyway, back to my video. This is a wired, full-size, over-the-ear, open-back headphone, and he uses a 40-millimeter dynamic driver with ironless core magnets and a magnesium diaphragm, and this is a patented design, so it's kind of unique, a little bit different than your typical dynamic drivers. I'll look a little deeper into that before I do my full review of these and try to explain that a little bit better. But anyway, this headphone uses quite a bit of 6061 T6 aluminum, and I'll give you a close-up view in a few minutes and show you all the aluminum parts on this. And it also uses real sheepskin leather for the ear pads, and I believe the headband also, and also uses memory foam in the ear pads. So the materials of this thing are excellent. I mean, just really outstanding materials, and I'll give you a better look at it, and you can see how the build quality is also. Anyway, this headphone comes with a 2-meter detachable cord, and I did want to show you that because I think it says in the brochure or on the website 1.5 millimeter, but this is over 6 feet long, so I'm guessing about 2 meters, maybe 7 feet. Anyway, it is a single-ended cable, and it comes with a 3.5 millimeter connector at the amp end, and does come with the 6.3 millimeter adapter. And the cable quality seems pretty decent. It's pretty heavy cable, and it doesn't really tangle or anything. It's got like a rubber coating, but like I said, it's okay. But the difference is these connectors, and I haven't seen these before. They're called LEMO or LEMO connectors, and I looked that up, and apparently there's different designs of connectors from that company. I'll try to give you a close-up look here. They just kind of snap on and snap off, and these appear to be the 2-pin design, and it looks like there might be several different versions of the LEMO connectors, and someone told me, or somewhere I heard, that the Sennheiser HD800 uses this type of connectors, and I don't know If they're interchangeable, I've never reviewed a HD800 or HD800S. I'm not sure if it uses the same cable connectors or not, and if they're the 2-pin. But I don't have any other cables like this. I've probably got about 40 headphone cables lying around, and so I can only review this from single-ended outputs of my amps because I don't have a balanced cable for it. So anyway, but I remember I did review the Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 open back, and it had similar connectors, but I don't think they're exactly the same either. And I was looking at their website, and it looks like theirs uses a 4-pin design. And like I said, they're similar, but I don't think they're identical or interchangeable. Anyway, this headphone also comes with a really nice carrying case. And according to the website, this is actually leather. It's very soft. It does smell like leather. And this is sort of a double case. It's got a spot for your headphones and another spot for the cable here. And first time I've seen anything like this that it's come with a headphone. And you know, it's $699. I'm actually surprised at the materials, the build quality, and you know, the accessories, like an actual real leather bag with it at that price of $699. So anyway, oh, I did want to had a few more stats here to give you. It has an impedance of 16 ohms and a sensitivity of 92 decibels at 1 milliwatt, so it's fairly easy to drive. The low impedance is going to make it easy to drive, you know, with a portable device or something. And 92 decibels is kind of an average sensitivity, so it actually should be fairly easy. It just seems average to me as far as how hard it is to drive. I think I did mention, well, I'll show you the headphone in a minute. Anyway, according to the website, this has a weight of 395 grams. On my kitchen scale, it did come in a little heavier than that. I was at 429 grams, but that's still very average in weight for a, you know, full-size headphone. So, you know, it's not super light, but I wouldn't consider it heavy either. So I did want to roll in a little closer and give you a look at this. You know, I mentioned earlier the aluminum parts on this. And first of all, this ring around the grill here is aluminum. This piece is aluminum. This trim around the ear cup here is all aluminum. And then this yoke, this entire piece here where it connects, this is all aluminum. And then I believe the headband up here is plastic, but they have lambskin ear pads. They're real thick. They have memory foam. They're real soft, extremely comfortable. And the headband itself, I couldn't find where it actually said if the headband was sheepskin leather also, but it looks and feels just like the ear pad, so I'm assuming that it is. You can see how these adjust here. They just slide in and out, and it's just enough tension on it that they're easy to adjust, but they don't change. They don't move on their own. They stay where you adjust them. And then you can see the ear cups swivel here, and they swivel this direction. And I did want to point this out, that the connectors for the headphone cable are actually on the back side, and I've never seen that before. But they are angled forward. If you put these on like that, you can see they kind of angle forward, and it doesn't seem to be an issue at all as far as the cables. You know, they're not jamming into my shoulders, or not. It's not uncomfortable at all. So the design works. And just so you know that I'm not putting these on backwards. First of all, if you put it on with these in front, they just don't fit right. But also there is, I don't know if you can see it, there's an R right, it's right there, so you can see this is the right ear cup, and when I put them on, they are in back, the cables. But like I said, they just draped around the front, and it doesn't seem to be an issue at all. I did want to mention, because I thought of it when I put these on, is these do have some isolation, both isolating incoming sounds. It does muffle the sound quite a bit. It doesn't isolate on the level of a full closed back headphone, but it does isolate the sound somewhat that's coming in. Where most open back headphones, it doesn't change the level of the sound coming in at all. And also I noticed that when I'm using these, there's not as much sound coming out of the back as most open back headphones. So I would consider these a semi-open back or a semi-closed, whatever you want to call them, but they are advertised as an open back headphone. But I did notice when I'm listening to these, if I put my hands over the grills, it doesn't change the sound much at all. The tone doesn't really change. All it does is it collapses the sound stage slightly. So, like I said, to me, this seems like a semi-open back headphone. I know when I was listening to I just did a review like 5 days ago of the Hi-Fi Man HE1000 SE. And if I put my hands over the grills of those, it's substantially changed the sound. I mean, just completely changed it to it sounded like, didn't sound good at all. But, it just, everything about the sound was different. And also they leak a huge amount of sound. You cannot use those in the same room with other people or they're going to hear everything you're listening to, but with no bass, that real high pitched, all they hear is the highs, little bit of the mids. So anyway, this doesn't leak as much sound out or let as much sound in as your typical open back headphone. I did want to mention the equipment I used reviewing this, and like I said, this is just my first impressions, but I probably have, I would say, 4 or 5 hours in on these, and I've, enough that I've got a pretty good grasp of the sound. But obviously in the next few weeks I'm going to do a lot more listening, try these with different amps and see how they match up and synergize with some different amps, and I'll try a couple different DACs. And then also I want to do some pretty extensive comparing these to other headphones, because I do have, I can think of 3 headphones I have right now in this same price category to compare these to. So anyway, but before I get into the sound, I want to tell you what equipment I used so far in my review of these. And I wanted to start out by mentioning that my clean power was provided by Core Power Technologies, and then all my equipment was plugged into that. And then I'm so far using CDs. That's what I primarily use in my reviews, is CDs. I'm using a Cambridge Audio CD player as a transport only, and running that into my Audio GD stack, which consists of the Master 9 headphone amp and the R8 MK2 R2R DAC. And then I also did a little bit of listening to these using the Topping D70S MQA version DAC, and I had that hooked up to the Felix Audio Echo. It's an OTL tube amp, and really matches well with dynamic driver headphones, even some of the easier planar magnetics, but sounded really good with this headphone. And that I did check with Felix Audio, and it is safe to use that amp with headphones down to 16 ohms like this one is. They recommend 32 ohms and up, but it does work well. It sounded really good with this headphone. So also I used the Hi-Fi Man EF400, which is a combination amp and DAC with this headphone, and also had really good results. So getting into the sound, what really stood out right away with these headphones is these have exceptional detail. I mean, I was really blown away by the level of detail, especially in the upper mid-range and lower treble. I mean, they just, I heard detail that I don't hear with most headphones, even headphones costing a lot more than these. So there's a reason for that though. And the reason is the tone balance of these, I would say they're basically neutral, but I'm hearing a little bit of peak in two areas. There's a little bit of bump in the mid bass, and I like that. I like maybe a 3 decibel bump in the mid bass is perfect for me, and that seems to be about where these are. And then also these seem to have a little bit of a bump in the upper mid-range, lower treble area, and I think that is where I'm really hearing that detail. You know, the things like cymbals and snare drums and things like that, they're really jumping out of this headphone. And like I said though, that upper mid-range and lower treble seems to have a bit of a bump and be a bit forward on these headphones, so it's really, really bringing out, you know, exceptional detail in that range. The bass on these, the sub bass seems to extend pretty well, but it's not emphasized at all. The mid bass has some pretty decent weight to it, and it also well, first it's tight, it's controlled, but it does have a little bit of punch, a little bit of hit to it. It's the dynamics on this headphone are pretty good. The mids, the upper, like I said a minute ago, the upper mids are just really forward on this headphone. As far as vocals, and I'm talking about both male and female vocals, they both, they're forward, they're very detailed, but yet they sound a little bit on the dry side to me, a little bit sterile. I could even use the word analytical, and like I said, that's both male and female vocals. They can sound a little bit thin at times. I don't really think they sound, I'm not hearing sibilance. I don't hear, you know, that after ring or that kind of, I guess the best way to describe sibilance would be kind of a sound on the end of notes or on the end of, you know, words or whatever, and I'm not really hearing that. And it's not a deal breaker at all. It's kind of the trade-off for having that extreme detail in the upper mid-range. The vocals just sound a little bit on the cool, a little bit dry side. But like I said, it's not to the point it's a problem for me. In fact, when I'm listening to these for a while, I don't notice it anymore. It's only when I switch back and forth with another headphone that it brings it to my attention. Otherwise, you know, when I'm listening to these, I guess my brain adjusts pretty quick to different sounds from different headphones, but they sound really good to me. I mean, you know, like I said, I usually would say that I prefer, you know, the voices to sound a little warmer, but it's, like I said, I only notice it when I compare it to another headphone, and I did briefly compare this to a couple of other headphones. I've been saying for a long time I usually try to do my first impressions video before I do any comparisons, but I've realized that because my brain does quickly adjust to the sound, sometimes I can listen to something and it'll sound really good, and then I'll compare it to something that I know real well and realize that there is a difference or there is a problem. So I've actually, lately when I do my first impressions video, I try to do a very brief comparison with a headphone of a similar price, something that I know real well, to make sure I'm not missing something. And I did very briefly compare this to the Hi-Fi Man Ananda Stealth, which sells for about the same price, and the LSA HP2. Ultra, which I think is the same price or maybe $100 more. So anyway, but I'll talk about those comparisons in a minute. Getting back to the sound, the treble, very clean, very detailed, very crisp, good sparkle, and no harshness or anything like that. It doesn't seem fatiguing, so the treble sounds really good to me. The sound stage is kind of average in size and width as far as comparing to other open back headphones. It's not huge, it's not real wide, but it does have decent width, and the imaging seems to be very, very good. You know, I can definitely pinpoint where each instrument's coming from, and the separation of instruments is very good. Like I said, that just what really stands out about this headphone is just how clean the sound is. It's just, you know, like I said, I'm hearing details that I'm not hearing with some of my favorite headphones in this price range, but mostly, you know, that upper mid-range treble region. But this headphone is very clean all the way through the entire frequency, all the way from the bass all the way to the treble. So I'll tell you about my brief comparisons. I did compare this to the Hi-Fi Man Ananda Stealth, which I did give the award of best headphone under $1,000 to that just a few months ago at my year-end review. And no, this headphone does not have the warm, rich mid-range and vocals of the Hi-Fi Man Ananda Stealth, but it does actually out-detail the Ananda Stealth in the upper mid-range and treble, and I didn't know that was possible. That is a very detailed headphone, but yet if I take these off and jump right over to the Ananda Stealth actually sounds slightly veiled in the upper mid-range and lower treble. I'm not hearing the detail that this is putting out in that area. So yeah, I'm kind of blown away by the detail that I'm hearing from this headphone. But like I said, this was a very brief, just a few minutes of jumping back and forth comparison, just a few songs. So when I do my full review, I'll definitely spend some time and put a lot more listening and a wider variety of music into my comparisons and give you a more accurate, more definite comparison. Anyway, I also briefly compared this to the LSA HP2 Ultra. Excuse me just a second. Which is also one of my very favorite headphones in this price range. And I did, that was my headphone of the year 2 years ago, under $1,000. So anyway, comparing this to the HP2, this does not have that exceptional sub bass of the HP2, but the HP2 is a closed back. So, you know, and neither does the Hi-Fi Man. The HP2 just goes so low and has just such great sub bass. But the mid bass, I would say, is probably about on the same level between this and the HP2. And they actually have a similar tone balance to vocals, both male and female, where the HP2 is actually a little bit on the cool side and a little bit on the dry side in the vocals. And that can be improved though by putting the memory foam ear pads on it, which I have done. So with the memory foam ear pads, the HP2 does have, the vocals are a little bit warmer and richer than they are on this headphone, but with the stock ear pads, it's actually pretty close. The one thing that this does better though, even though the HP2 has exceptional detail, once again, that upper mid-range, lower treble, this out-details the HP2 also. So, like I said, just kind of blown away by that detail. Just the way not only do the sounds jump out, but they're crystal clear too. You know, it's pretty amazing, really, and compares to some headphones that are quite a bit more expensive. So anyway, I'm gonna pretty much wrap up this first impressions at this point, and all I can say is this: I am very impressed by it. I didn't know much about Cleer Audio before this. This headphone is a contender. It's up there with my favorite headphones in this price range. And, you know, I don't know, by the time I do my full review and do extensive comparison, I don't know if this is going to replace the HV2 or the Ananda Stealth as, you know, my favorite or one of my favorite headphones in this price range, but it's definitely a contender. It is up there, able to compare and hold its own against these headphones that, you know, I've been recommending for years. So, well, not the Ananda, I just reviewed that like 6 months ago, but I did review the regular non-stealth Ananda before that, like the Stealth even better. And then also another headphone that I have that I want to compare this to is the Kennerton Magni, which is very similar to the LSA HV2, because the HV2, if you don't know already, was manufactured by Kennerton for LSA. So they are similar, but they have a different tone balance. They are, the Magni has a warmer mid-range, but not quite the sub-bass of the LSA. So I have 3 headphones that I can give a comparison to with these, and I will do that over, and I'll be honest with you, I've got 2 more headphones that I've got to do first impressions on, and I've got to do a full review on an amp before I get back to these. So it's probably going to be a month, but I will get back and let you know how the comparisons went, let you know how this works out and synergizes with some different amp DAC combinations, and let you know if this is you know, gonna be, I think it's at least gonna be alongside my favorites in this price category. Whether or not it moves up to the top, I don't know that yet. It's gonna take a lot of comparison, but I'll let you know that in about a month. But anyway, yeah, great build quality, great materials for the price range, and exceptional details. So you might want to think about this headphone if you're shopping in that price range. So I will be back in a few weeks, probably a month. Once again, this is William from the Headphone Experience. If this video has helped you, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Please join us at the Headphone Experience on Facebook. It's up to 22.9 thousand members. And once again, thanks for watching my video.